Hello fellow YouTubers, I'm Cassandra Joy and welcome to my channel. We are long overdue for a life update. I know I've been posting a lot of happy, summery content recently and all of that has been genuine, but behind the scenes, there have been a lot of lows that I haven't been ready to talk about. I feel like I should just start at the beginning because I'm not sure where else to start and give you enough context to understand everything. I will be interspersing some questions from all of you throughout this video as well. So if you want to see if your question was featured, make sure to watch to the end. And actually, I think I saw a question that would be perfect to jumpstart this little life update. This question from Louisiana Rainwater on YouTube asked, I want all sorts of life updates. Job, health, hopes, dreams, favorite music at the moment, Bible verse or positive quote that encourages you, recipes, book recommendations. You really covered all the bases. But let's take that one at a time. Life updates, specifically job. There's a reason I never share who I'm working for publicly until I've finished with that job, because so much can go wrong. You never expect it to, but if it does, you don't want that name to be out there, you know? And that unfortunately happened with my now previous job. I was a marketing director for a multi-million-dollar Christian clothing company. I won't share the name because I don't want them to get more traffic than they already do, although I really ummed and ahed about whether or not to share their name, but I figured by sharing it, it would only give them a bigger platform, and based on their behavior, that's not something I want to do. My role at the company was marketing director and wholesale liaison. I managed pretty much an entire department's worth of work and responsibilities by myself. I did email marketing, SMS marketing, website updates, Shopify maintenance, design mockups, wholesale communications. I did a lot. I'm probably forgetting quite a few tasks, but that was my job. It was a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. It was like drinking water from a fire hose when I first started, but it ended up being right in my wheelhouse. But I was able to take a lot of experience from that job, and I'll forever be grateful for that. I'll also not be mentioning names of anybody involved in this situation, but I had a trainer for the first month of my working at this job who taught me the ropes for everything. I was basically taking over for this person, and this person was amazing. We're still friends to this day. It became such a wonderful friendship, and that connection will come to play later in the story, so keep that in mind, that I was trained by someone wonderful and we stayed friends. During the interview process, I knew what number I wanted to hit as far as salary went, but due to my then inexperience, I was willing to work for it. I was willing to up my initial earnings over time to reach my end goal, and my boss agreed that something could be worked out over time. So I accepted a rather low hourly, which then turned to salary amount for the amount of work that I did. And I was satisfied with that for a year. It felt like a dream job. I could work from home. It was all remote. I could take my job, aka my laptop, anywhere I wanted. Such a cool experience for having never worked remote before. And then we hit the year mark where I was meant to have a year review. The meeting really went off without any issues. My boss was never one to give verbal praise, which is why I was a little bit surprised, pleasantly, that I got quite a good review. So good, in fact, that I received no negative feedback. What didn't go well was the topic of a raise. If you recall, I mentioned that the discussion of earning more over time was an understood part of this job. And when my boss mentioned the raise that I would receive after a year of work, I was disappointed. It was so minimal, I wouldn't hardly call it a raise at all. And that didn't feel right, basing it off of what I understood to be the deal. So I let that stew for a bit. I let that simmer. And during the simmering process, I reached out to my trainer slash friend, who was very invested in knowing how the year review went. My friend was basically outraged at the number and proceeded to share what salary was earned when my friend was in the role, and came to find out there was almost a $20,000 difference. You heard that right. I wanted to make sure that this number was in fact something I was worthy of. And turns out the scope of my job and amount of responsibilities was actually worth more than my trainer friend had earned. Overwhelmed by numbers rattling around my head, I waited a few months before reaching out to my boss and requesting a salary negotiation. I had no expectation that I would earn anything close to what I was worth or what my trainer friend had earned. I was hoping to earn something in the middle, at least to start, and then reevaluate over the next year or two. I won't give you numbers, but basically what I was earning paid for gas, food, and a few necessities. and that's it. I couldn't save for a house. I couldn't even pay for rent if I had wanted to. It was not a sustainable job long term, but I wanted to make it work because I loved it. I loved the work. I loved the mission. I loved the brand, which is why I was willing to sort of meet in the middle in regards to a salary negotiation. I won't give you a play-by-play of that conversation, but it went poorly. Instead of a hello, I got a 10-minute diatribe of excuses as to why the company couldn't afford to pay me. But you may remember, I was the marketing director. I had access to the company's net worth. I had access to the numbers of what the company took home. There's so many things I could tell you. I will not. I will refrain. But they could have paid me. That's the bottom line. So I defended those excuses as to why the company couldn't pay me. He also tried to say that my task list didn't match my trainer friend's task list. That was a bold-faced lie. Just another excuse to toss at the wall and see if it stuck. It did not. I defended that too. I had receipts. And understandably, my boss was not thrilled that I had receipts to back up my negotiation, and basically ended the conversation saying he was unwilling to pay me anymore. No negotiation. No, let's see if we can meet in the middle. Let's see if we can add some more responsibilities to help you earn this, which I was totally willing to do. Nope, just a flat out, not gonna happen. This was in March, I believe, and by May, I had been let go of the job. It was a 10-minute conversation, if that. Really sorry to tell you this, but we are changing direction and we're letting you go. That was the end of that job. But remember I told you I made friends with my trainer? That comes into play right now. Both of us have some sleuthing skills. We don't use them very often, but when needed, our inner Nancy Drew comes out. Between the two of us, we basically figured out that after my salary meeting, my boss had secretly hired someone else a week later, and I proceeded to train her for the next few months. And when he felt like she had enough knowledge and skill under her, he let me go. Which was so underhanded and dishonest, especially for a Christian company. It was handled so poorly. It was a bridge that didn't have to be burned, but he obliterated it. So that's what happened with my old job. The homie housewife Christy on YouTube asked, did you find a new job? So I've been spending the last few months applying for jobs consistently and getting no bites. I was hoping my clothing company, the Joy Club, would earn enough orders to sustain me a bit in this messy in-between stage. But apart from the handful of loyal people who purchase every single time I launch a new collection, it's kind of crickets, which is heartbreaking. Those feelings are not something I usually share online because there's so many heavy things in the world. I don't want to add my own things to it. I want my content to be an escape for people, a distraction from their own heavy things. I don't want to add to the messy, you know? But unfortunately, the heavy things in my life have just bottlenecked to a point where it's been really hard. It's been really hard. Finances are probably the one thing that stresses me out the most. I can silver line most other hard things, but finances are the one thing that I have trouble not feeling desperate or despondent about. Rosie Brown asks, now that we're halfway through 2025, do you have any goals you want to accomplish during the second half of the year? I want to have my chai project published. I want to have really all my books that I've written published at some point. I want the Joy Club to take off and be successful enough to be a side hustle, if not a full-time earning job. I want to be able to earn enough to move out and have my own little place. I want to move somewhere tropical and have a condo, and I want to be monetized on YouTube. I'm not asking for much. Do you have any highlights, lessons learned to reflect on from the first part of the year? Well, I gave you all the highlights already. I'd love to call them lowlights because they weren't great, but they were the big things that happened. Lessons learned: don't let one bad experience scar you from trying again, because at least in the case of my jobs, not all bosses are created equal. Not all companies are handled the same. And an experience one place should have no bearing on your potential experience somewhere else. Another lesson I've learned is to give God more credit. When I was in the midst of panicking because my bank account hit zero, because I'd gone through all my savings in the space of looking for a new job, God provided a couple random babysitting/dog sitting opportunities that don't sound like a lot, but paid just enough. My mom always told me growing up that God is a just-in-time kind of God, and I have found that to be very true. I think in my panic during hard things, I forget that He is a loving dad. We call him a heavenly father, but we forget he's a loving dad who genuinely cares about us and our well-being, just like any dad would his kid. And it's been cool how God has provided just enough over the last few months. And as hopeless as things feel right now, I know that there's a job opportunity waiting for me that he's curating just for me. I just gotta be patient. Something I'm not very good at. Moving on to health. This is a topic I haven't covered in a long time, mostly because there haven't been a lot of positive things to say. I've been working with a natural doctor who's been consistently helping me to correct my hormones. My hormones have been a mess since I was 10. The cycles have always been very rough, and I felt like that wasn't normal, so I wanted to reach out to someone who could maybe make them less horrible. And we have found a few things that make it easier. But in the midst of that, we also discovered through some hormone tests that my estrogen is the highest he's ever seen in a person my age. And the thing about estrogen, if you didn't know, because I didn't, the higher your estrogen is, the more your body cannot lose weight. It's basically a vicious cycle where if you gain weight, your estrogen goes up. If your estrogen goes up, you gain weight, and it just goes in a circle. Unfortunately, after trying a few things, we haven't been able to lower my estrogen, at least not to the point where my weight has changed. You may remember a year back, I had lost about 30-ish pounds. All of that has come back. And to head off any questions about what I eat basically a carnivore diet. Meat and protein are my main sources of food. I eat very simply. I eat things that are from the ground. The two things that are snacky guilty pleasures, sour cream and onion chips and M&Ms. And I eat those sparingly enough that they would not affect this. And that's also been a huge frustration that I've been dealing with in the background. Having no clothes that fit me, no clothes that I feel beautiful in, and with no sign of the scale number changing. I am looking into a few options, none of which I love. I'm gonna ask for insight from people a lot smarter than me to see if there's anything we can do to help my health go in the right direction. Because I think I've maxed out everything I know to do and changes I can implement, but it's another thing that's been added to the waiting pile of things I'm waiting on. That pile is growing taller than I would prefer. Part of Louisiana's question is Bible verse or positive quote that encourages you, and book recommendations. Book recommendations I'm going to save for a different video. I've got some summer books that I want to chat to y'all about, but that's not going to be for this video. As for Bible verses, there's a website that my Bible studying friend has turned me on to called Dwell Differently. Part of Dwell Differently's products help with verse memorization. I'm not the best at memorizing verses as much as I want to, but they make it super easy. So they have a few products to choose from. The one I like best are their keychains. Basically, you can buy a pack of their keychains all at once for around $13, or you can become a member and get one every month. What they do is on one side, they have the Bible verse, but only the first letter of each word to help jumpstart your memorization. And then on the back, it has the full verse spelled out. I found this to be excellent at helping me memorize verses. My favorite verse from that stack that I love and find a lot of comfort in and encouragement is the verse that goes, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you." I'm terrible at remembering references, so don't ask me where that verse is. But yeah, I've recited that verse a lot over the last few months. And it's a really good reminder that I'm not alone in this. No matter how dark things feel, God is always the light that will guide me through it. The homie housewife, Christy, also asks, what's a new skill you would like to learn? And what is your go-to comfort meal? New skill I would like to learn is, what is the new skill I would like to learn? How to build things. There have been so many times where I wish I had a handyman skill where I could just go out into the garage, cut up some wood, and build something that I'm envisioning, like garden beds or a clothing line or things like that, where I could just go outside, whip something up, and not have to go out and buy it from a company I probably don't love. As for a comfort meal, my mom makes this amazing beef and noodles thing. That's always what we've called it. It's probably not its proper name, but it's literally these fat, as in wide, noodles with beef broth, and mashed potatoes with butter on the side. That has been our collective comfort meal growing up. Anytime we were sick, anytime we were just feeling like, oh, I just need a pick-me-up, beef and noodles. You can also do it with chicken. We did that recently for my niece who doesn't love beef. Can't blame the girl. I didn't love beef either in my younger years. But it works great with chicken and chicken broth too. Monicana, hi Monica, asks if I could live anywhere, in any state or country, wherever, where would I live? There are so many places I would love to live. Are we talking permanently? Like I can pick one and live there forever? Or are we talking visit and travel and hop around? Because I have two different answers. Live would be somewhere tropical. The Carolinas, Florida, those are the two places that immediately come to mind. As for visiting places, I want to go to England so badly. I've been to Ireland and I got bit by the travel bug ever since. It was the best experience of my life. Wish I could go back, but England is my next place I want to go across the pond. I follow so many British creators and they showcase their cute, quaint little small towns, and I just want to visit them all. Hopping over to Instagram here to see some questions that have been asked.
Singing Skyward asks,
habits or hobbies? Any craft/DIY projects you're still looking forward to starting? Habits, I've been really working on swimming almost every day anytime the weather allows, because that's the one place I can exercise without being in pain. I have an arthritic knee that is no fun at all. I have good days and bad days, but swimming doesn't cause me any pain. I can exercise without worrying about hurting myself. Plus it's water. I love water and I can tan while I'm doing it. It's great. As for hobbies, I am currently working on a new blanket. I got this sunset yarn from Joann Fabrics before they closed, and I've done this much so far. Just started it a couple nights ago, and I'm just gonna pick it up as and when I feel like it. Crochet projects like this, big ones, I love because there's no pressure. There's no end date to get it done. Just whenever you feel like you need to sit down and do something with your hands, you've got it there. You all seem to ask similar things about crafts and DIYs, about where I want to travel, what I'm doing work-wise now. I think I've covered most of your questions. I just didn't feel right continuing to make happy summer content without also sharing this. In the same way, I don't like channels who use their life drama to curate views. I also don't like channels who only share the happy. I think there should be a balance. And I know I always feel less alone when people share their stuff. Maybe not everything needs to be shared on the internet, but big things, you know? And for anybody who is wondering if there's anything they can do to help, you can simply go to thejoyclub.store and see if there's anything you like. I will say, if you want summer things, act fast, because I'm planning on launching the Autumn Essentials collection at the beginning of August. It feels wrong. It feels all sorts of wrong to do that because it's still summer, but that's when most businesses start selling fall stuff. That's why you see people already talking about fall on YouTube. They're already making fall content in the middle of summer. It's just so wrong, but it is what it is. So if you feel led to support me in any way, doing that through the Joy Club and prayers, of course, would be the best ways. Thank you for listening. Thanks for allowing me to share heavier things that are going on in my life. It's not the kind of thing I want to share, but life happens. And at the very least, it's good to know you're not alone. And if you've been going through something similar or your own heavy things, and you feel like all people post are highlight reels and you're feeling jealous and envious that your life doesn't look like that, mine doesn't either. I look for the joy and I capture it wherever I can. It doesn't mean that sad things aren't happening in the background alongside. My joy is found in Jesus. And I don't say that flippantly. I don't say that as a pretty little cherry to put on top of a video to end it in a positive lilt. I am genuinely serious. It's really comforting to know that I have the God of the universe looking out for little old me. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you are a gem and I love you, and I would give you a squeezy hug if you were here in person. Let's do something positive with the comment section. Let's encourage each other. If you'd like to share some things you're going through, you don't have to give huge details. Let's encourage each other. And if you've been through something similar to someone else's situation, maybe offer wisdom. Let's make the comment section a community of encouragement. What do we think? Does that sound good? Hopefully it does. If you're new here, this is not my normal content. I usually romanticize life a lot more than this. There are plenty of other videos you can look at to see what I'm all about. But basically, I live in a small town that feels like Stars Hollow, and I love to make everything a rose-colored adventure. If that sounds like a little bit of you, feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a future video from me. I upload pretty much every week, so I'm basically like a reoccurring TV show, and have plenty of summer vlogs for you to catch up on in the meantime. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.